The law of forgetting is secretly ruling your life. If you are living in lack, trying to manifest, trying to figure out the right techniques, how you can go about getting the things that you desire, living the easy, effortless, flowing experience, which is the life of your dreams, then I encourage you to use this law wisely. Now, what is the law of forgetting? Forgetting is extremely powerful. The act of leaving something out of our conscious awareness so that we can experience its opposite is extremely powerful, and it can be used depending on how you will direct your mind, positively or negatively. First, we'll discuss how this law is acting in most people's lives today, the reason why the world is how it is. There are so many people in lack of health, prosperity, all good things. Then we'll discuss specifically how you can use forgetting to make easy and effortless manifestation natural to you. How are most people using forgetting, that is, unknowingly or unconsciously, to create the negative, lacking experiences in their lives? Well, first and foremost, people are forgetting their oneness with God, Source, Universe, infinite intelligence and power of the subconscious mind, or in other words, their higher self. That is the fulfillment of their every desire, the kingdom of heaven within each and every one of us here and now. In this way, they lead themselves down a path of identifying with illusion. This entire physical world and experience, every circumstance that you encounter in your physical life, is illusory. And really, it's just a reflection, a product of your former states of consciousness, your former ways and habits of thinking, feeling, being. And so when those ways of thinking, feeling, and being are in alignment with forgetting your oneness with God, that is, the infinite power to create any and everything, then you may tend towards taking physical actions or forcing or putting in a lot of effort to try and get the things that you want out of life. This is what most people are doing as they have forgotten their oneness, or they are unaware of their oneness with God and therefore all things they could possibly desire. Trying to force things to happen in their world, trying to make what they want come true, focusing always on the who, the when, the how, the if, instead of allowing themselves to recognize that they already are the fulfillment of their every desire. They allow their mind to be preoccupied constantly with the things they have to do, with the debts that must be paid, the bills that are coming, the negative circumstances of their life, perhaps loneliness if they want to manifest a loving relationship, perhaps lack of a comfortable place to live, lack of investments and security, lack of freedom, lack of joy. They are constantly looking at these things as problems to be solved, and therefore they want to think their way out of them. We're taught in this world that we should take every problem upon ourselves, that we need to figure out each and every way everything is going to go, that we need to control our circumstances, that we must, by the sweat of our brow, work our off to get the things that we want. But all of this is a choice. If we instead choose to forget all of these things and remember who we are, that is, a child of God, one who is blessed with absolutely everything we could possibly desire, then we would be naturally, easily, effortlessly relieved of the worry, fear, doubt, stress, and problems that come as a result of forgetting our true self. So how do you remember who you are and therefore have trust that you can forget all of your problems and therefore receive the fulfillment of your each and every desire? Step number one is to remember that you already are everything that you want, even if it doesn't appear to be so. This world is completely illusory. You do not let any physical circumstance or situation move you. You no longer abide in the reaction state where you are experiencing something that appears to be negative and then you allow yourself to be swayed or thrown into a negative mental state. Instead, you say, I know that this situation is illusory. It is the old story playing out. The new story is, and then you shift into step two, which is your identification with God, aka the fulfillment of your every desire. You say within yourself, the new story is, I am already one, complete, and whole as a result of my oneness with God, Source, Universe, infinite intelligence and power of the subconscious mind, my higher self, which is all things now. It is all love, all power, all knowing, and therefore it is not up to me to worry or fear about any situation in my life. All I need do is forget these things which seem to be problems before me and allow the infinite power within me to solve them. I will forget these things and leave them behind, that I may move forward into the ideal experience which is naturally mine. Now you may be thinking that these are just nice words, but it's not that easy to actually do. But that is why it's so important to do this again and again as these negative states of mind, these negative reactions come up in day-to-day life. It's not something that you have to sit down and dig into unless you want to, but you'll find naturally that everything that needs to be resolved or forgotten in order to manifest your desires, your dream life, will come up step by step, naturally, easily, effortlessly, as you go about your day-to-day life. The only time is now. The present moment is where all your work should be done. And it is truly laborless work because you aren't forcing or efforting trying to make some sort of physical action lead to the fulfillment of your every desire. It is purely mental, spiritual, emotional. All you must do is become aware of your own habits of mind, habits of thinking. Where is your attention occupied? Whatever you place your attention on, positive or negative, is going to increase. So when we forget the negative, forget the problems, forget the debt, it doesn't mean that you don't pay it. It doesn't mean that you run off to be a monk so you can meditate in a cave and stay away from all responsibility. What it means is you are facing every moment now with the consciousness that you and God, that is fulfillment of absolutely every desire, infinite intelligence and power, are one. Say it to yourself over and over all day long if that helps you get the message. But you must remember the things which are worth remembering, the things that are important, the things that are going to increase your prosperity, and therefore increase your awareness of who you are, your power, the kingdom of heaven itself. If it helps, you can even recognize how in the past, thinking and overthinking about your problems has not actually solved them. It sounds like a bit of a bleak example, but if thinking about our problems was the way to solve them, there would be no homelessness. Those who are lacking are constantly thinking about their lack, and they never find ways to get out of it. In fact, the habit of thinking about lack is so strong that even if someone were to come along and gift them everything that they needed or wanted, they would likely lose it, because our life is and always must be a reflection of our state of consciousness. So, if you want to experience something new, practice forgetting, which is true spiritual detachment from the world of the senses, the world which tells you need to overthink, the world which tells you all of these problems are here and you must solve them now. Quit taking all that responsibility onto yourself and recognize there is an infinitely powerful version of you living within you, just yearning, eager to solve your every problem. But it can only do it when you're willing to forget it, when you're willing to let it go. Otherwise, that energy is locked up in creating more images of lack in this world which is reflecting your consciousness. I said in my last video that your one goal when it comes to shifting your outer experience should be to shift your inner state. Now, don't just try and shift your inner state to one of fulfillment of your desire. Maybe you have one thing you want or many things you want. Shift it entirely into oneness with God, because that is fulfillment of your every conscious desire, and also every need will be met before you even recognize it, before it even comes into your experience. If you're someone who's manifesting and you think that techniques are the only way to live the ideal life, you're going to find that there are many little circumstances and things that come up throughout the day you would have to spend all your time imagining. But it becomes much more of a flow-based practice when you make your only mission, your only goal, to abide constantly in the feeling and consciousness that you and God are one. And you don't let yourself think of God as some vague essence. You become very, very clear about who God is to you. It is yourself, and it is the fulfillment of every desire you could possibly imagine. It is the instant meeting of your every need. It is the freedom, the joy, the relief, the security that you yearn for. And that power, which is rightfully yours, is released when you are allowing yourself to focus only on the good. Focus only on who you are. Remind yourself in every situation, in every seeming setback, that you are one with God and you cannot fail. Do not compromise on your desires. Do not compromise on who you believe yourself to be. Do not say you're only good enough to manifest this, that, or the other. Go wholeheartedly into the kingdom, knowing your oneness with God, and let that anchor you into your dream reality. Your life isn't meant to be a struggle. It's not supposed to be difficult, but it will be as long as we believe that we have to take all responsibility of day-to-day living upon ourselves. You are meant to be free, happy, and joyful. It doesn't mean you'll do absolutely nothing all day long, but it does mean that you are free to relax. You're free to give up all the overthinking and the worry, fear, doubt, and impatience with which the world is so fascinated and attached to. You can live in a constant state of ease and grace the more and more you build up this faith, this trust in who you really are, the infinite version of yourself, your higher self, God. So the next time you find yourself overthinking about a problem and how to solve it, instead, say within yourself, "Thank you, Father, that this is already solved. I have faith." And if you feel that you are lacking faith, say it over and over again. I have faith. I have faith. Knowing that that faith is not in some outside God that may or may not hear you or answer your prayer or create your manifestation in physicality, but knowing that it is the infinite version of yourself who is always here and now with you and cannot fail you as you put your full faith and trust in it. If you want to learn some of the best methods and techniques for letting go of all fear, worry, doubt, impatience, and all of these triggers of the physical world and experience in order to get what you want easily and effortlessly the way it's meant to be, check out my Manifest Anything with Detachment course. You don't need it, but it can definitely help you speed up the process of getting to that point where manifestation is easy, effortless, and you don't even have to do techniques if you don't want to. Everything is flowing, all your needs are met, even before you can sit down to imagine or visualize or affirm for it, because you're no longer abiding in the 3D illusory world, identifying with it. You are instead living consciously and continuously from the perspective that you are one with God and therefore fulfillment of your every desire and need. If that sounds good to you, I'll leave a link in the pinned comment and the description. Next, if you want to learn about how I used AI to create the ideal self concept for easy and effortless manifestation, which you can copy, watch this video right here. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you next time. Take care.